Hey, all you Hollyweirdos, welcome to another haunted yet theatrical episode of Hollyweird Paranormal Podcast, where we're going to intertwine the paranormal with the theatrical. Now, in a 5, 6, 7, 8, coming in from stage left, we're having a chilling episode as we sit down with our friend Wes Chew, renowned lighting designer for Los Angeles' most iconic stages. But beyond the spotlight and cue sheets lies a shadowy world that most audiences usually never see. Wes pulls back the velvet curtain and shares some of the most crazy paranormal encounters he's experienced while working in Southern California's most haunted theaters. And we have quite a few. From unexplained flickers backstage to full-body apparitions that left even the most seasoned tech crews shaken, Wes recounts stories that will leave you questioning what truly lingers in the wings. We also dive into other haunted stages across Los Angeles and beyond, exploring why the theater world is such a hotbed for spirits. So you already know the drill. You want to gather your salt lamp, gather that salt shaker, dim down the house lights, grab a snack or two, and brace yourself because this episode is a ghost lights dream. So let's get Hollyweird. Let's get into it with our friend, lighting designer, Wes Chew. Hey friends, all you weirdos out there, by the time you're hearing this, we're probably popping up Ambien on the plane and going to La La Land because it's going to be a long and bumpy plane ride to Chicago. Hell, probably by the time you're already listening to this, we've already materialized in Chicago for the Windy City Paranormal Festival, where ghosts, ghouls, witches, paranormal enthusiasts, investigators, ghosties, groupies are welcome, and ICE is most definitely not welcome. While we're out here chasing spirits and EVPs, we can't ignore the very real horror happening back home in our beloved city of Los Angeles with the ICE raids targeting our immigrant communities. And let's be very, very clear, we stand firmly against the raids and in full support of our Latino brothers, sisters, siblings, neighbors, everyone. That's why this festival is doing something truly powerful. A portion of the proceeds is going directly to a human rights campaign, and it's most likely going to support immigrant families. So whether you're here in person or catching the live stream, your ticket is helping fight the real life monsters. Use code word Hollyweird to save 10% off live stream tickets and show up not just for the ghosts, but for the people. Now let's get back to the spooky stuff, but with our hearts in the right place. And always remember, sin miedo. Now, let's get Hollyweird. Hey guys, welcome to another wonderful and very special and very spooky episode of Hollyweird Paranormal Podcast. With me is the beautiful Bryce Mitchell-Williams. I know. Did you guys hear
I thought you were calling yourself. I think it's just dirty. If I'm being honest, I think it's just Gracie. Yeah, I'm trying to fix it as best I can. But yeah, I thought you were calling yourself beautiful. And I was like, yes, queen, self-talk.
And of course, sitting with us today, you heard it in the intro, is our friend Wes Chew.
How y'all doing today? I'm Wes.
And we work together in the same institution. We work at a school, and Wes was actually the person who got us into East West Players Theater. He got us in connection with everyone there. And if it wasn't for Wes, we wouldn't have investigated and had the experiences that we had while trying to organize our own live podcast there, because there were some really interesting things that happened. Bryce remembers them well.
Yeah, I'm trying to block them out.
But it seems like Wes not only knows the tea and the deets on a lot of these haunted theaters, but he also has worked in a lot of these haunted theaters. He has a lot of great stories. Every time once again, like Bryce remembers, like every time I'm in my shop, someone comes in with a ghost story. Wes has definitely been there. Yeah.
Always.
Wes, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do in theater, and actually your first paranormal experience.
Yeah, hey y'all. Like we said before, my name's Wes. I'm a professional lighting designer here in LA. I do lighting design and am in theater quite a lot in lots of spaces around LA, and have found that the different theaters that we have tend to have very rich and storied histories, and that sometimes manifests itself in the plain spaces that we inhabit as designers and performers.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Bryce and myself can definitely vouch for that.
Period.
We've had some pretty interesting experiences working in theater. And
I've never been in a theater that wasn't haunted. Let's just be very clear about that.
so, Wes, have you ever had like a paranormal experience inside a theater, or what was your first paranormal experience?
It took a while for me to get my first, but I think it was actually at East West Players.
No, let's jump it.
Let's jump right back into.
Band-Aid off. Let's do it.
Yes.
And I think that one of the first ones that I had was we were doing a production called Assassins just before COVID. It was the show that we were in as COVID took over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all remember that week, right? What was happening as the world was shutting down.
Oh, yeah.
And we were doing a show called Assassins at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were going through this production, we started getting more and more experiences, the design team and the creative team, as we were in that space more and more by ourselves, right?
Wow.
Right.
One of the biggest ones that I remember was, this didn't happen to me per se, but it happened to the lighting assistants on that show. And the people that were in the space at that moment were myself as a lighting designer, the assistant, and then the master electrician and lighting crew. So it must have been like, what, 1, 2, 3, maybe 6, 7 people in the theater. Nobody else. The theater was locked, and nobody else was coming in or going. So halfway through this focus call, the lighting assistant goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle. Do you want me to fill up yours?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, right?" Mm-hmm. So the way East West Players is laid out is you have the main stage, which is kind of facing the audience, and then directly behind it there's this hallway that goes parallel stage right to stage left.
Oh, I remember that hallway.
And in the hallway is like our kitchen. So there's like microwaves and the water fountain back there as well. So the lighting assistant goes back there with the water bottles, fills up our water bottles, and then is walking back to the stage deck. And you know how you all walk and sometimes you don't like pay attention to what's happening? That's what she was doing. And, she came up, she walked up the stairs that you guys probably know, and walked into a guy.
Just walked into some random guy that
then
thought like, "Oh, sir, excuse me."
Yeah, and this guy was dressed in like 1920s. He was a Japanese guy from the 1920s.
Damn.
And she like walked into him and looked up, and he kind of did that as like, please pass, and backed into the wall and disappeared.
At least he had manners, and he was well dressed.
Right.
If I was going to have my first experience, I want it with a well dapper dude ghost, right?
Yeah. So the ALD comes back on stage and goes, I think I walked into somebody, and I don't know who it was, but that person just kind of manifested and then disappeared into the wall. So the master electrician was like, "Oh, let me go see." And where she described it was there was no way that a person could have been there at that particular moment in time.
That is crazy. And that fits like a lot of the narratives and the experiences that people had.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we think that was Mr. Takahashi from when the East West Players venue was a church back in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is also the area, guys, where a lot of the Japanese American.
So the history of that particular theater is back the late 20s and before. It was a Japanese church in Little Tokyo. And that was also the place where it was the assembly point for Japanese internment before they were sent off to like Manzanar.
Yeah, so this was the executive order of 9066 that happened in 1942, and this extended all the way to 1946.
Yeah, and while the time the Japanese were out of the building, that building became a jazz club, was it? I think it was a jazz club, and became known as Brownsville.
Yeah, that whole area of
Bronzeville, yeah.
Brownsville.
Bronzeville.
Oh,
Bronzeville, yeah.
Wow,
Bronzeville,
yeah.
So
And then later on, the Japanese returned, and it became a Japanese church again, and then it became the Union Center for the Performing Arts in the early 2000s.
and now it's East-West
Players.
Yeah. And guys, we had investigated. It was myself, Bryce, with Tanya Mercado
Matt,
and
Tanya.
Andy, who was the TD, and Mark, who was the
musical director.
And everyone there, even Andy, had an Excel spreadsheet of date, time, and experience of
Yes.
everything that people had experienced his time there, because it was just like, it was so much, like the amount of experiences people were happening. Even like we had one, Bryce, do you remember what happened? Like towards the end, we heard that loud no, it was the door slamming by itself.
I don't remember that, but I probably blocked it out.
Yeah.
We had a similar experience like that again on Assassins 1 just before COVID. It was myself, the land designer, the scenic designer was in the space, and the props designer was in the space. And we're all kind of just sitting in the house, sitting on the front of the stage deck, and all of a sudden we hear the front door like open and close.
Yep.
And we're like, oh man, we hope somebody's out there.
Yep, that's what happened.
Props designer goes out there, comes back, nobody there. Theater's completely locked up.
That's what happened to us because we were still in the midst of COVID. No, was it COVID or no, it was Christmas, and they were kind of shut down. They weren't doing anything during that time. They were closed for that month. And as we were packing up, as we were gearing off, I think I still had like the mics going. You hear a door slam, and we all heard it. And Andy was like, oh, that's weird because all the doors are locked. I made sure we were locked in. And because especially late at night in that area, it's not a safe place to walk.
Yeah, it's a great area. Yeah.
And we heard it, and Andy went to go investigate. He was like, that's weird. That door was closed and it was locked. So
what happened?
Like what was it? 5 of us, we heard it. So it was really, really interesting.
And definitely me. I definitely heard it, and I definitely remember hearing it.
Yeah, like some other fun experiences in that space is like we're sitting in tech. This has happened on multiple shows in that theater, where you're sitting there and all of a sudden you get your hair pulled.
What?
Oh.
And it's like the only way to solve that is to like tie it up into a bun and not have it, accessible. And it's happened to me. It's happened to all the lighting assistants.
Of course, because you have a ponytail.
I do.
I'm sure, like these ghosts who are, or maybe it was Mr. Takahashi. He's like, why the hell is your hair that long? Go to the barber shop. Be a man. I know. Because if you think of it, people back in that era, I mean, men and women went to the barber shop, the beauty shop every week or 2 weeks to get their hair done.
And keep it short for guys.
It was a thing. It was an ordeal. People really took the time to better their appearance, and now we don't care. We're just like, we'll wear a damn pack if we need to. Put it up in a sock on something.
Yeah. So Andy at one point was all like, "Yeah, just wear a hat. That'll solve that problem."
They'll take off sir. We take off our hats indoors. I'm surprised that wasn't flicked off your head. That is crazy. So you had this experience at East West Players, and it was not going to be your last experience in a haunted theater. You go off to other theaters in other areas, and you hear other stories and had other experiences.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
There's stories and lots of experiences to be had throughout LA, right? But let's stay with the East West Players for a couple more minutes, because I think there's a few more things that are just weird and fun that happen at that particular space, right? When you guys were there, did you guys hear about the 11 cents?
I think we did the 11 cents, like you're
Little piles of like 11 cents
yeah.
that would show up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, right?
yes.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
And
So
it was always like always 11 like cents. It was like a
a dime and a penny. Yeah. And it's in a little pile, right? Yeah, it's like that kind of stuff where it's like the story behind that is like it's these children that are playing in the dressing rooms that like to leave the 11 cents around. And it's weird because that has actually recently kind of stopped because nobody's carrying change anymore and just doesn't exist in the space.
I know.
So that particular one has kind of seems to have stopped.
On Apple Pay or Venmo, like the 11 cents.
Yeah. Please add 11 cents to my Venmo,
Crazy
please.
though.
Daily.
Yeah, we went to the dressing rooms and
Daily
those rooms
pay.
were creepy. And I remember Andy saying like there's a lot of stuff that happens there. I don't think nothing happened to us in that room, but
It's creepy. There's a vibe up there that is.
It really is. But I remember when we went there, like I think even Tanya said, "Ooh, there's things that happens here, but I don't see or feel anything in this space as of right now."
So it seems like Mr. Takahashi is like the keeper and keeps all of the other spirits in check.
Good.
It's what it seems like, is the way I understand how that works. And there's lots of spirits within that space, from like little children up in the dressing rooms to Mr. Takahashi, who was the caretaker of the theater back in the church back in the 20s, right? And he still manifests himself to various performers. There was one famous performer who was auditioning for South Pacific back in the day, and was doing this closed audition, right? Like, for those of you who don't know, auditions can be open or closed, right? A closed audition is just the performer and the producers or the casting directors. And this particular one was a closed audition. And he came off stage and he was mad that there was a guy standing in the balcony watching his audition.
Oh.
And so they took him up there and they were like, yeah, the door's closed. There's nobody here. And they go up there. Yep. Sure enough, nobody in the balcony, completely empty. That was that particular performer's first,
And probably last.
I know he's been back many times.
Really?
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a space that has lots of activity that we have experienced firsthand and through the stories of many, many others.
Man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stories, but Mr. Takahashi is the one that always seems to come up.
Yeah.
People have seen a couple, like it's an older man and woman that sit in, I think it's the second level of seats.
In the balcony, right?
In the balcony. And I think we even caught an EVP. If you go back, I think it's 2 years back into our episodes, guys. I'll probably tag it into the stories on our Instagram, the episodes of our investigations. But I know we caught an EVP of someone talking as it's like a whisper, as you and Tanya, Bryce, you guys were talking and saying something, and someone chimes in, like they're in opposition of it. I couldn't remember what you guys were talking about, but I remember catching it on camera, and I was like, no, that's no one else, because I'm not talking, and that doesn't sound like you two, because you're not whispering. You guys were talking at a regular level.
I never whisper.
No. Unless it's a guilty whisper.
Oh my God.
But yeah, those stories still tend to continue from what I've been told by Andy. I know there's been other occurrences since we've even...
There's been other occurrences, and I haven't been in the space much recently, but I've heard of some other occurrences that has happened recently. Since they did their production of Brothers Paranormal, it seems to have tamped down a little bit.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
And they're not quite sure why, but...
Damn. They have a play. Did you go to the play with me, Bryce? Did you see this performance? Well, we're going to go see the sequel to it, but it's called Brothers Paranormal, and it's about a pair of brothers who are investigators, and
Oh, cool.
it was taking place in New Orleans, right? Like, I think
Yes, I believe so.
in New Orleans post Katrina. It was such a good play. It was a really scary play. It was, I mean, the effects that you guys did with the scrim and the spirits and everything.
They did a really good job with it.
They really did. And there was a beautiful quote from one of the brothers. I always bring it up on the podcast, and they're talking, and One of them asks, like, why do ghosts stick around? And the brother tells him, because of you. We stick around because you guys keep us here, because we are here for you. And I thought that was very beautiful. And now there is a sequel.
It'd be a sequel of Brothers Paranormal. I don't remember what it's called, but Brothers Paranormal 2 is what we can call it, I guess.
I know the brothering. And when is that gonna be thing?
In the fall sometime.
In the fall? Okay, so we're gonna go see it, Brace. But it's such a good show, and that's at East West Players, guys. We'll most likely post it on our Instagram. So if you're in and around Los Angeles, support East West Players and go see the show.
Yeah. Shameless plug for East West Players. It is the longest running Asian American theater in the country.
Heck yes.
Putting visibility to the Asian American voice and experience on stage to parts that we may or may not have ever had the opportunity to, play.
Yeah, heck yes.
Hell yeah.
And it is predominantly, a lot of performers are Asian American, and that's amazing, all that representation, and we have to have that representation, especially in theater.
Yeah, and there's a lot of big stars that have gone through, that have grown up in LA, who are Asian American, who have been on that stage.
Yeah.
And are now big, stars in Hollywood.
Exactly. Mr. Takahashi being one of them.
Yeah.
Now, can we move on to more theaters?
We can go on to more theaters.
Oh, I'm excited because you had some really good stories of other ones.
I got some good stories of just, just me being around and hearing things and seeing things. Yeah. And that was odd.
Yeah.
So I used to work at Pasadena City College. The main stage there is known as Sexton Auditorium. And we had, was it? Sexton, yeah. There's a guy's name. Con A. Sexton was the donor that had given money for naming rights. But there were some stories that have happened to, people adjacent to me in that particular theater.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them that happened to me was we were doing a show in an outside space, and we had taken all the stage bricks outside. And for some reason, I wasn't the only one that heard this, but it was dark, and then all of a sudden, we heard a whisper of my name. And we had thought that it had come from we thought it was somebody out there, but then we realized there was nobody around except for the few people inside this little amphitheater that we were in. And what we had come to kind of discover and figure out that it was maybe some energy attached to some of those stage bricks that had come outside.
Whoa.
What's inside a structure is what you can also bring in. Was there any, explanation where they came from for these bricks?
No, they came from the main stage. It was on our fly system. So we brought them down and just took them outside to ballast our lighting positions.
Oh, man.
And that was that was kind of the only, and we had made that connection because something else that weird had happened just a couple of days prior to that incident, which I was not there for, but the student cast and one of the staff members was present for this one. I was not present for this one, but they were freaked out a little bit when they came out and told me. So they were in the dressing room, in the makeup room of that theater, which is underneath the stage deck. And the staff member who had been there for, it was 2025, at least maybe 25, 30 years, never had any experiences. So they're all kind of sitting around this dressing room, and it was this one particular staff member, and there's probably maybe 10 students. They were all just kind of sitting around, BSing around. And then the staff member was all like, I've never seen anything happen here. Show yourself. And just called it out.
Damn.
And right as she did that, apparently, I wasn't here for this, but apparently all the sinks turned on, right at that moment.
Crazy.
And they were like, oh, maybe there is something here.
Well, you just challenged.
Challenged. Yeah.
Right.
It's okay, dude.
Show yourself.
You want to play?
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't there for that one, but they all came back outside and they're all like, you never believe what just happened to us. I'm like, what just happened, guys?
Damn.
So that was a fun one that happened. That happened probably 2021, just as kind of COVID was kind of ramping down ish. And Sexton Hall is the oldest building on campus over there. So, lots of history back in that theater as well.
Like Pasadena Playhouse too. Remember, Bryce, when we went to Pasadena Playhouse and we sat there with some of the workers who shared quite a bit of experiences. I mean, they too kind of have a laundry list of things that have happened, especially like actress Anna Camp, who's performed there several times. She had a paranormal experience as well. And whether you're a performer or a tech or you're a patron or worker at the theater, like you're gonna experience something at the Pasadena Playhouse. Pasadena itself is very haunted as well.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those were kind of the two stories from that school. We had one more at Chapman, which was kind of fun. It was end of night. We're all just on stage, like saying our goodbyes, right? Head home. And out of nowhere, this lighting fixture like not only falls out of the sky, but it like does like this hockey stick shape thing, and it falls down and it flies against the wall. So not only did it disconnect from a batten somehow, but it flew across the stage and hit the wall. And we're like, yeah, we're going home. Good night.
Yeah, that's so crazy because it's like a safety issue too.
Whatever that thing was, whatever it was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys want to become a ghost too? Let me.
I can help.
So would you think that is something more malicious? Like they really wanted you out of the space where they would almost inflict harm, you think?
I don't know. I was like, we're all just like, alrighty, good nights.
I think that's what it is. I think sometimes like spaces I think whatever's there in the space needs their own time. They're like, you've been here too long and I need you to get the F out. Yeah.
Have we talked about ghost lights on this podcast?
Ghost lights?
Yeah.
No.
We should talk about ghost lights because ghost lights are fun.
If you're a theater kid,
Yes.
you know what a ghost light is.
I love a ghost
Bryce
light.
does. We all do. What's a ghost light?
So do you guys know the history of ghost lights and why they come and why we have them?
Vaguely.
So the practical purpose of the ghost light is so when we come into a dark theater, right, we don't fall off the front of the stage.
Right.
Which practically is useful, right? We don't want to say that. The paranormal, I guess, reason is in American theater, it's a place to invite the ghosts of the space to come play, right, in the night. So we leave a light on for the ghosts to be able to come play. In European theater, they call it a spook light. And it's the idea is to keep spirits off the stage deck.
So in America, we invite them.
Oh, interesting.
And in Europe, we tell them to go F off.
Yeah, basically. But the light itself is the same practical purpose of not wanting somebody to fall off the front of the stage deck.
And soon become a ghost.
And soon become a ghost. So this isn't
ghost light.
So this is not a paranormal experience at all, but the high school I went to way back in the day, it was a dark theater. It was a Friday afternoon, long before I even got there, right? So we're talking like the 80s. And this is just a story I heard. I have no idea how true this is. But the technical director of the space had come in on a Friday afternoon. It's like the 1980s, right? Into a dark theater, and he fell off the front of the stage into the orchestra pit. And he was there all weekend with a broken back.
Oh my
and
God.
He survived, and they found him Monday morning. And he still works there. He still works there to this day. But the story was that there was no ghost light, and he just simply walked off the front of the stage.
Oh my God.
And was there all weekend long.
That's where the real horror is. Like, you broke your back, and you're there with a broken back for 2 days.
Yeah, remember, this is the 80s, so there was no cell phones.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was
No
going to
cell
say,
phone,
didn't he have one in his pocket somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Thank God. See, this is when I welcome technology.
Yeah.
Every ounce of being.
Right.
Seriously.
This is why we leave a light on.
Exactly. That guys, you just got a theater lesson, a technical theater lesson of what a ghost light is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And don't walk off the front of a stage.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Yeah.
I was told two different stories, mainly for safety reasons, and then there's like the spiritual paranormal element of a ghost light, where I was told it's supposed to be in honor and appease the spirits of the theater, or to allot them, their time and their space when the light is on. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's what a ghost light is.
Yeah, when I was in grad school, we did the service workers project where we interviewed the service workers of the university. And the janitors were always like, they always did not like servicing the auditoriums, the theaters, because they always felt the energy in there, and they would always be wary to go in there alone at night to clean.
That's what I always say. I mean, custodian workers like know all and see all.
Yeah.
Security, custodial, and just people who are there when the area or the location's closed off, they see things.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Mm-hmm. Those are the people you always talk to.
Oh, totally. Mm-hmm. If you want to get the good stories, those are the people to talk to. and where to eat, and where to find good food.
Exactly. Didn't you work in one of the missions? You did something?
San Gabriel Mission Playhouse.
The San Gabriel Mission Playhouse, guys. So this is another location. All the missions have a certain story and haunting. I know that San Gabriel.
Yeah. Those of you who are from California, y'all did the mission project. Mm-hmm. Did you do the mission project?
No, I mean I went to school in New Orleans.
Yeah, so you're not from California. So if you talk to anybody from California, at 4th grade we do the mission project, and we build a little mission out of like
a diorama.
Yeah, like a diorama. You make the mission
out of a shoebox, right?
No, you actually build the mission, you construct it. It's the 4th grade project. Mine was Mission San Juan Capistrano. Okay. But ask any of our students who came from California. They will all be like, yeah, that was my mission, because it's a thing. Everybody I've met from California is like I did the mission project. Oh,
that's We just did the Mardi Gras float.
Yeah.
I went to school. That was our project. Pick a parade and design a flow for it, and then give a paper. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So anyways, back off my tangent now. Mm-hmm. San Gabriel Mission Playhouse is built on an old Native American burial ground. And that seems to incite a lot of experiences within that particular theater, and some other things that have happened over the years, right? We're doing this was way back in the day. This must have been 20, 25 years ago. But we were doing this one-woman show on stage. I was a lightboard operator. And a stage manager calls up and goes, "Hey, y'all, how many people do you see on stage?" And we're like, just one. And she's like, "I'll tell you later." So the lady leaves, and we're kind of closing up the venue, and we're like, "Hey, what was that about?" She goes, Dude, there was a guy in the monitor standing right behind her, looking at her.
Creepy.
Oh, glad you told me that now. So now I can go home and not be creeped out too much.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, just staring.
Yeah, and then the other one that happened was, I don't remember who it was that died. It might have been a technical director, it might have been a producer, it might have been, I don't really remember who the person was. But again, it was 25 years ago. But the legend is, it's a fly house in that theater, that the uppermost batten will swing if this particular person likes the performance happening. And for years, we always chalk that up to air currents, right? The air conditioner turns on and it pushes the battens around. Fair enough logical explanation, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing a show. It's a touring show that comes through. It's a one-off. They come through, they do whatever they do, and they leave, right? Their touring stage manager comes over and goes, "Why is there a guy sitting on the batten up there?" And we're like, "I'm sorry, what?" And she points, and she's like, "Yeah, there's a dude sitting up there." Oh. So after the show, we take her downstairs, and we put out all these pictures, and she pointed to the guy. Without any context of without any context of that particular legend.
Wow.
So that was fun.
Do you think our theater here at the university we work at is haunted?
I haven't felt anything.
Yeah, agreed.
Some people say they felt things. Some people say they feel things in this hallway up here.
Yes, thank you. What have you heard?
I've just heard feelings that gets kind of an uneasy feeling.
Yes,
but I haven't heard more beyond that.
Okay, so what we're talking about is the 3rd floor here. If you're watching the video, guys, through our Patreon,
At an unnamed university.
Yeah, at our unnamed university.
Yes.
Big fancy university in Playa Vista. If you know, you know. There's a third level here in the theater. It's just offices, our offices for the staff and faculty. But if you remember, we did another episode about theater hauntings, and we interviewed one of our professors here, Dr. Kevin Whitmore, and he did a fabulous explanation of why theaters are haunted. If you want to go back and listen to that one, it's a really good one. And I think that was part of the East West Players episode, but he had an experience here on the third floor where he was by himself working late like he always does, I think it was past 10 o'clock. And then there was like a fire alarm. So there was no lights on the third floor. And he said that he was coming out of his office and he saw what looked like a young woman down the hallway. And he thought
That's
it was a student
crazy.
because the school is open. Like the doors are always open. People could come in, students come in to do work and stuff like that. They could use the computer lab. Like nothing really is closed. So he assumed it was a student and he tried to approach her, but he ended up finding no one. Like there was no one on the floor. Yeah. And there are times here, like when I'm lifeguarding a show, and when I mean by lifeguarding a show, we do performances here. And since I'm a part of the staff and faculty, the staff has to pick certain
nights too.
Yeah, to oversee, monitor, and manage, shows, making sure that the theater doesn't burn down. And if something happens, like we're the ones to call 911. And there are times where I'm on the third floor by myself, and I swear, like there's someone here with me. And I hear things too outside my door. Like I feel like, did I just see someone walk past us? Like what past this door? What the hell's going on? There was one time where I was walking down the hallway and I was leaving my office and I stopped to give more way because I thought someone was behind me. Like I kind of had to pull to the side, and there was no one there. Like I just felt like someone was right behind me. And to the point where I just kind of stepped aside. I'm like, oh, excuse me. Oh, wait, there's no one here.
Who am I talking to?
I know. And even one of our other instructors said that in the costume shop, once again, about spaces, he was here really late in the shop and he thought he could go for another hour. And in the middle of him sewing, he got this odd feeling like this energy in there was telling him to get out. Like he just felt like his time was done and whatever was there, like compelled him to stand up and say out loud, okay, I'm coming to a close. I'm going to leave. You're going to have your space kind of thing. And yeah.
Damn. That's me at the end of every party. Go home.
Is that or are you doing the Irish goodbye?
Oh, I've Irish goodbye my own birthday at the party at my house like multiple times. You ain't got like it's my birthday. What am I like?
I'm gonna go to sleep. That's what I want for my birthday.
I love Irish goodbye. My heritage.
So those are the only stories I've heard. Like I've spoken to Rob here or TD, nothing, and they're usually here pretty early, pretty late.
Yeah.
Too, but didn't Hyannis have something here in the theater?
Was there?
Yeah, so
I don't recall hearing about this one.
So allegedly, we were doing a show called Hyannis last year in the Barnell, which is the small black box, and
now you're gonna give our university away.
Yeah. And they were having a little meeting before rehearsal or after rehearsal. I think it was after, and it was the stage manager and some of the casts. And the director, and they're talking, and someone's water bottle just like flew off the table.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ew.
It was like they were talking. I don't know if it was pretty heated. It's like, with the emotions and everything, approaching opening, there's stress. If that kind of created some sort of a chaos, if that was something that was like maybe a poltergeist energy, who knows? But because a lot of these students are kind of young. They're still pretty young.
Right.
There's a lot of emotion that is involved. Hyannis is a pretty intense play because it dives deep into drug addiction. So I know it was getting intense during certain parts. And I'm surprised no one talked about this.
No, I didn't hear about this.
Someone, I can't remember who, but I think it was one of the actresses because they knew that I was into all this stuff and they're like, you got to hear what happened.
Yes. Period.
Okay. And I think probably people really thought it was the wind or
Inside.
it was, yeah.
You know,
Or
that
there was a
inside
miniature
wind.
earthquake that happened.
This wasn't during the earthquake, right?
No. But the way they said, because I asked him, like, how did it fall off the table? They were like, it just looked like somebody smacked it off. Like it was with force.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Every theater has a story. Every theater has a ghost or two or more.
Yeah, I think I got one more for y'all.
Ooh, what is it?
Oh, the Falcon Theater, currently known as the Gary Marshall Theater.
Yeah.
In Burbank. Oh, this was again like 20 years ago, whatnot. So maybe I did have ghosts way before East West Players, but I think now that I can delve back into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it goes way back 20 years, and Wes was like, yeah. No. Anyways, we're ending a lighting call, and we all go home, and we come back, and one of our electricians is like mad, and we're like, what's wrong, bro? And he goes, you never guess what happened last night. Like I left, I drove home, and my neighbor was all like, you know, you have a rider in the back seat. Like the ghost got in his car and went home with him.
No.
So he's all like, so he drove the ghost back to the theater. He's all like, get out.
He drove
Hilarious. That's so funny.
it was like another 30 to 40
Yeah.
minutes back.
I'm like, how did you know he got out of the car?
I do not
Correct.
bring my work home with me.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I asked him, I'm
That
like, how do you know he got out of the car? Like, did he have a seatbelt on?
Oh my
Like,
God.
Like he goes, yeah, I don't know if you ever did get out. Like I would have taken the guy with you that saw him. I would have been like, you're coming with me to make sure this guy leaves.
Sure,
Right.
yeah.
No. No, thank you. We're done.
Like, if
don't come
like
home
that happened to
with
me, I think I would be like, yeah, I am also driving back.
Yeah.
I would be dropping you back off at work. Thank you.
No.
100%.
Would you
Absolutely
do the same thing? Would you drive back to work?
No.
If someone told me there was a rider, I'd burn the car. I'd be like, no, I'm good. No,
I
don't
burned the
need
car,
that.
maybe burned
No,
the
like,
road that I
absolutely.
drove the car on.
Yeah, it's my Kamala Harris voice. It was like, do not come. Do not come to my house. Do not get in my car. Like, absolutely not. No.
I definitely would like spend the 30 minutes to drive back to work to be like, please get out of my car.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Well, I have a couple of theaters here, a list of them that are the most haunted in the United States. We could start with Pasadena Playhouse. We have actually ventured there quite a few times. And the Pasadena Playhouse, allegedly in the green room, people have claimed that they've seen an apparition of a young girl, and they have seen an apparition of a woman, whether it's in period dress or costume. Some people say it's from like a time period of the 20s and 30s. Others have said that it is a costume that she wears, and it looks like she's getting ready to go up to the stage. And of course,
Wow.
the theater has a theater ghost cat. People have
Yeah, ghost cat.
Ghost cat. And that is actually a ghost story too. I think we shared it on one of our episodes when we first did our first live show over there. We had a friend of ours dressed up as Marilyn Monroe to come out.
Yeah.
And she brought us our sparkling little tumblers of Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be our mascot, our ghost. Well, when she was there to do the little rehearsal, or I think when she was there to go on stage in front of everybody, she said that she could have sworn from the side she saw like what looked like a cat going underneath her table. Like she saw an animal going zigzag around the stage and backstage, which is really, really
crazy.
interesting. And another goer to our live show even mentioned that she saw a man sitting in the far stage right of the seats, and she could tell like the man was not living because you could see through him technically, but she was saying that he was kind of observing what we were doing, and then he kind of disappeared in the audience seats. He has been known to haunt the theater, Pasadena Playhouse, Gilmore Brown. So people have said that this is in connection to the head director, Gilmore Brown, who actually started the theater in 1917. when it was a community
Wow.
playhouse, and it was his cat that people have seen in the playhouse actually belonged to Gilmore, and the cat would sit and watch the rehearsals with Gilmore Brown. And he would
Wow.
I think he would meow if it was good and not meow, something like that. But the cat would pretty much tell Gilmore,
Okay.
no, this is a nay. This is, yeah,
Period.
exactly. So
Is Syracuse Stage on that list?
Syracuse Stage, no, I don't see it on this list. I also have.
There's a story. There's a legend from Syracuse Stage up in
Really?
upstage New York that they will never put the lead lady in red
Really?
Yeah.
So why?
because they have found that every time they do that, bad things happen on the show.
Dang.
So now they have kind of a rule that we never put leading lady in red. No red on leading lady.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
See, there's
crazy. Jealous.
what else do we have here? We also have this is a good one too, the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona. People have seen apparitions of men dressed up in Western wear, they look like they're of that time period. Also, call girls of that time period. There are certain rooms and dressing rooms in that theater where people have felt very sick. They've seen the apparition of a madam, and it's a mixture of energies there, from what I was told. But it is a pretty haunted theater, and if you're very sensitive, I was told that, if you're very sensitive, you're gonna feel sick when you walk into certain areas there.
Huh.
Another one too is the Niederlander Theater. This is the one I really want to go to in Chicago, Bryce. Niederlander
Yes.
Theater used to be, I think it was the Iroquois Theater. And this is the theater that actually was the reason why we have safety laws and rules. Because way back in the day, I'm going to pull it up right over here, the Niederlander Theater was the site of one of the worst fires that occurred in Chicago, actually in the States. And it cost the lives of 600 people when a fire broke out inside the theater during a matinee. People did not evacuate properly. There were no evacuation precautions. There were no emergency exits. So people fell from the second floor. They also were burnt alive, piled on top of each other. And it was so bad, the smell around that area was so bad that the alley in the back of the theater is now called Death Alley because of the amount of corpses that they had to pull out and lay out to identify or try to identify. But it was men, women, and children who were caught up in this fire. And it was a total of 600 people. Barely anyone made it out there alive. And I was told by a friend of mine who used to work there, who knows the props director. So if the props director is listening to this, please hit us up. That he has seen many weird things happen in the theater. Everybody who goes in and works, even acts, have seen apparitions of people on the second seating wing of the theater. They have seen them backstage. You hear voices, you see shadows. It is very, very active here. Obviously, because the amount of life that was lost there is intense. And then we have the Le Petit Theater in New Orleans. If you are on Patreon, you would have heard my friend Carrie's story that this is a theater that dates back to the mid to late 1800s. And everything in that theater hasn't been touched. The fly system still dates back to the late 1800s.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And there is an apparition there that people have seen of a man who sits on the top of the stage or sits in the audience, and he will mess with the electronics and the lights if he thinks the show is shitty, pretty much.
Petty king.
And if you're an actor, you'll probably be greeted, if you're lucky, by the costume ghost. So there is a ghost who used to be the former costume mistress there, and she pretty much tends to those who are, they're missing something. She'll like apportation, it'll just appear on the table, appear on the chair. People have heard her, they've seen her. One actor has claimed that he was by himself in the dressing room getting ready to go out and have a party with his cast. He is about to exit the room, and as he's exiting, he hears a woman's voice say, "Don't forget your jacket." And he said, "Oh, thank you." Turns around and doesn't see anyone there, but
No.
yes. So listen to that episode on Saturday Night Ghost Club. There's more stories connected to the Le Petit. I know that long ago there was a director or technical director that had a weird experience with a very nasty presence on the second level. Apparently he was pushed by a presence that was exiting a certain room. Yeah, it got a little violent for him. And
No pushing.
and yeah, so the Le Petit in the French Quarter, it's located in almost in the heart of the French Quarter there in New Orleans. And what else? What else? We have the Palace Theater in New York. This is a theater where people have allegedly or claimed to have seen the spirit of Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, and even Lucille Ball. Yes, it's claimed to be one of the most haunted in the U.S., and especially in the state of New York. So, yeah, it's if you want to go see a famous ghost, you go to the Palace. They'll most likely be there. And that is just to name a few of the most haunted theaters in the States. There's so many
Look,
more.
here's the tea. Every theater is haunted. So if you have a theater in your hometown, it's haunted. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes. What makes a theater haunted, Bryce? Like, in your opinion, why do you think that happens? Like, why are theater spaces?
Mold, probably?
Mhm.
I said mold, probably. No, I think it's we've talked about this. It's lots of things. Theaters like the East West Players are pillars of the community, and Los Angeles has such a storied history for many communities, but particularly the Asian American community in this city has been through so many iterations, and that building in particular has been through so many iterations. So the layers of history and the energy of a theater and the energy of actors and even just the electrical grid in a theater is much more intense than even like a regular home. There's just so many more, it's just a focused basin of energy for all kinds of electronics, emotions, spirituality, history, community. Like there's just so many things happening at theaters. That's why I love them so much.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, right? So much power in one spot, electricity-wise, right? Which I think
Crazy.
can help to amplify whatever spirit might be within the space.
Yeah. What about you? Why do you think, in your opinion, theaters are so haunted?
I think it's the same exact reason, right?
Yeah.
It's the raw emotion of performance being left on stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. And it gets absorbed in the wooden floors, the walls, everything, the seats. And I remember when I interviewed Kevin, he said it so well. It's because as actors, we are natural conduits. Like, we go on stage and we summon the dead because we speak the words of the dead. When we go and recite
totally.
Shakespeare or Chekhov, we are pretty much like it's kind of like a spirit circle in a way.
Yeah, it's like time travel, spirit
Exactly.
circle,
We're
channeling, it's
that.
all of it.
And I've
Yeah.
heard stories of performers who, they get so into their characters in a scene, in a monologue, and they kind of black out. And then when they come out of it, they're like, oh, standing ovation, or, oh, I don't know what I said, but I did it. I did it. And it's like they get, sucked into one place and then they come back to reality.
Totally.
It's so interesting. But yeah, if you're
Absolutely.
a performer, like Bryce, you know how that feeling is. It's very euphoric.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we come to a close, because this has been such an awesome discussion with
Yeah, I love hearing these stories.
if you don't mind sharing, you had a very kind of almost like a personal experience during the fires.
Oh,
You had something
yeah,
weird
that's.
happen, and I want to know if can you share it with us?
Yeah, so we had evacuated, and it was like 3 a.m, and my mom had left her wedding ring in the home, and I had sent my neighbor in to go retrieve it, and he had found it like right on the TV, right by the front door, which is not anywhere where it would have normally have been left. So it somehow moved from another room to the front, like by itself. And we have no idea how it got
that's
there.
Crazy.
That when you told me that story, I got major goosebumps. Who do you think that was?
We think it was probably my dad.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Aw.
That was such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I know got me for glimpse too. Because like
Yeah.
your mom always had this ring, right? In the
Yeah.
box. And
Yeah,
she
and
never would take it out and leave it randomly.
Like, yeah, not leave it randomly, and to find it like right by the front door,
It's so odd.
which is like an odd place to like leave a wedding ring
Yeah, like I can imagine like, oh, I left it
Sure.
in the bathroom.
in the
Yeah,
bathroom, my dresser. You know, that I usually take off my
Sure.
rings in the bathroom. I have a little dish.
yeah.
And why would I put it? I will never leave it anywhere else besides those two
Yeah.
places.
No.
So it's such a random and odd place.
Place.
And when he went in, it was like kind of like the first thing he saw, right?
Yeah, it was like the first thing I saw was just sitting right there by the front door, right by the TV.
So this wasn't something he had to actively go in
That's
and look
crazy.
for. He was like, oh, it's right here.
Yeah,
That is insane. What does your mom think about it too? When
that's
she was
probably my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a good
Aw.
story.
Yeah, that was a interesting story from evacuating from wildfires here in Southern California in
Yeah.
January.
I know. And
I mean, God, it seems like so
I
long
know.
ago.
And now we're dealing with many more things right now due to the nature
Aw.
of a certain administration.
Yes. Yeah. Really living a
Yes,
dream.
we're living history.
Yeah. Really tired of living history, actually. I would love some, like, precedent.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Wes. For
Of course.
coming
Thank you
on.
for inviting me.
Of course.
Yes, thank you.
And sharing ghost stories with us. I'm sure you're going to have more in the future for
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
And I'll definitely record them for Saturday Night Ghost Club, guys. Like what we've always said, guys, if you have a ghost story and you're dying to hear it, no pun
Aw.
intended, please forward it to hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com. We're waiting for those ghost stories. No one's been sending us anything. I think I have maybe one or two, and we're like, we need to build one up for our listeners' tales. So it would be really great.
Get
Get
haunted.
haunted.
You can come home in your car, but not my car.
Get that $5 Ouija board from 5 and Below.
Oh my God. No. No. Vetoed. I
We
veto
should make
that.
a trip, Bryce. We should go get one. It has a cute little pink planchette. I'll get you one
I love that. I love
as a a new home present, a little housewarming gift.
And I will burn that on the front yard. Thank you.
Bryce just moved into a new casa, and I've asked him,
Yes.
"Is it haunted? Is it?"
No, I think. Well, it was I think it was built in like the 40s, so it's definitely possible. But everything's like so new now, so I haven't noticed anything. But I'm the ghost cooler, so
There's always
Fair enough.
your roommate, so we're gonna have to ask her eventually.
I don't think she knows either. I think we're both. She's too distracted, and I'm the
There
ghost
you
cooler.
go.
So
Perfect match.
yeah,
There we go.
that's right.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. We're going to be taking a little brief hiatus because we're going to Chicago. And it's going to be a whirlwind. So by the time you're listening to this,
Yes.
we are either packing and taking some Ambien for the trip, or we're en
Hilarious.
route, or we're in the midst of it. We're in the grip of it. 'Cause it's going to be a
Yes.
pretty crazy couple of days during this beautiful festival that Frankie and the gang had
Yes.
put together over there, Windy City Twats crew. So if you
Yeah.
haven't purchased your tickets, there's still some available. Please feel free to use the code Hollyweird to save 10% off, especially for the live stream.
Yes.
If you can't be there in person, you could definitely be there in virtual spirit. There will be a live stream.
Oh,
We are
yeah.
talking about burlesque show that we're going to be seeing on Thursday night, I believe. So we have time to rest for a little bit and then go catch this burlesque show. There are panels, there's discussions, and also there will be an 80s prom. Yes, I'm
Period.
pulling a cummerbund, a neon green cummerbund.
Yes.
We got our costumes and everything. Well, guys, thank you so
Hell yeah.
much for tuning in once again. And always remember to stay classy, but stay Hollyweird. Be sure to be
Yes.
following us on our social medias. You can follow us on Instagram at Hollyweird Paranormal, including threads. If you have a ghost story or any story you'd like to share with us, please send them over to hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com. And if you have a little more time, head on over to Apple Podcasts. We would love a 4, 5, possibly 5-star rating and review. Just type a little comment. Let us know if you like the show. We hope you do. If not, then we tried,
Yeah, if not,
Keep
keep
it
it
bumping.
pumping.
It keeps us indie podcasters a little more visible.
Oh.
And also, if you have a little more time and you're interested in supporting the podcast, you can head on over to our Patreon, which is at www.patreon.com/Hollyweird Paranormal. For as little as $1 or more per month, you can support the podcast for however many months you wish. You can tune into our video interviews, our investigation on the Queen Mary, and also our secret podcast Society of Saturday Night Ghost Club, where we collect ghost stories from our friends, neighbors, and that weird guy that has that 3-legged dog down the street and just doesn't mow his lawn. We have it all. We got it all. It's on this little,
Yes, we
this
do.
beautiful little piece of haunted cake we call Saturday Night Ghost Club. Yes. All right, friends. Remember, take care of yourselves. Stay weird, stay Hollyweird, and have a good day. Stay safe out there, too. Yes. Bryce, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Bye.
We're going to dream about a deep dish pizza that will be in our mouths very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Take care, guys. And once again, thank you so much, Wes.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Take care, guys.